you did every single thing for this woman in her passing that would make her feel sacred, sovereign, and yet this was a woman who tried to kill you on several occasions.
I never experienced any love from her. She never said anything kind to me. She never said, I love you. She just, but I loved her. It didn't matter. And one of the things that she said to me when I was a kid that stuck with me forever, she said, you don't have to just love people that love you. It's okay to love people that don't love you.
What ways do you think our lives are affected if we don't forgive? Because I'd like to do more forgiving.
I think that forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves. It's more about ourselves and our own health, our own mental health. And I think if we don't forgive, we have resentment. And then we feel entitled to all these things that we didn't get. And it creates a bitterness in us. And bitterness makes us sick.
Okay. Well, it is my honor and my absolute, dream to be sitting here with Robin Brown from Magnolia Pearl, our beautiful Magnolia Pearl, the Pearl of Malibu. Gorgeous showroom and store. You're an artist, you're a writer, you're the visionary behind Magnolia Pearl. She's also the author of Glitter Saints, a raw poetic memoir about survival, faith, honor, and overcoming trauma and the turning points of turning pain into beauty. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is so nice.
I'm actually so honored and moved that you're here. And I'm so moved by the last 24 hours, 48 hours I've spent listening to your incredible book.
Wow, thank you. This is my first podcast, so how cool.
How cool, yay!
I know, I usually turn these kind of things down, but since it's in my beautiful little town, well, half the time I'm here and half the time I'm in Texas, I thought, you know what, this will be cool.
It'll be fun, right?
Felt right, yeah.
Fun. I think you're such an inspiration to so many. Your fashion, I see people wearing it around Malibu. I've just listened to your book. It is so profound. I think it's like basically one of the most beautiful books I've ever listened to. And despite everything that you endured during your childhood, your hope and your just amazing ability to kind of overcome and come through adversity and this gift to us all, in the clothes. Do you want to tell people about what inspires you to create your beautiful clothes?
I mean, it's about forgiveness. Life to me is about forgiveness, and the book is really about forgiveness, and that's what inspired me to write that book, is that, we all have a backstory, and I feel like a lot of times our front story is defined by our backstory, and my life just hasn't been that way. I mean, in a lot of ways, maybe it has, but I've recycled all that pain into magic and made something beautiful, and people always ask me, how did you come to have such an amazing business, and how did you do this with Magnolia Pearl, and how do I make my business work, and I just tell people, you can't get stuck in your past, and the one thing that will always fumble you up is if you're not able to forgive. Whatever happened in the past is in the past, and just leave it there. And and a lot of times it's the material by which you use. Like wabi-sabi, the Japanese believe that they pour the gold into the cracks. And so a lot of the brokenness in the parts of us that we feel are broken, those are the beautiful places. There's an old saying that, the cracks are where the light gets in. And so we're all just like, disco balls with all these cracked pieces of glass that we glue back together, and we're just illuminating off of each other through the cracked pieces. So we're like, that's where glitter's like, whenever you've used glitter, I'm sure it gets everywhere. You can't get rid of it. It's forever. It's all over your house. It's in your dog's fur. It's under the table. So, glitter is like a disco ball, and it just reflects the things back to you. So, yeah, forgiveness is the start. And my inspiration is just beauty and just the fact that I get to be here at all. I'm so happy that God invited me to his art exhibit, which is Earth.
Wow,
and
that's
I'm
wonderful.
so happy that, I wake up every day and the first thing I say is thank you. I didn't have to buy this heart that's beating in my chest. It just beats. I got it as a gift from the universe, and I get to have this day to create whatever I want to create. And I'm not perfect, but I try to always find the good. And right now that's super important because there's so much negativity. And there's so
Mm.
much sadness and it's so heavy in the world. And so it's been kind of my job and my honor to help keep people upbeat. And, I went to clown school when I was younger. And
Yeah, I read about that. I
that
thought
was,
that was absolutely
I don't know if
amazing.
that helps me or I'm sure people laugh at me a lot about that. And I'm like, well, at least they're laughing. So, it's just keeping that. And then I have a crazy, cool next door neighbor. He went to clown school too. I mentioned his name to you, but he's 100 years old. He's my neighbor. And you can tell that he uses his clowning around to just be jolly and happy. And that's how he's lived to be 100. And
I think
so
you said in your book that you felt like clowning and that experience actually saved your life. The adversity that you lived through, the amount of violence and different things you lived through, and yet you had this beautiful, optimistic heart, and that somehow carried you through all of that. And it seems like that's the theme of your life, that you take the darkness or the broken pieces and you somehow alchemize it into this beautiful, you know, fashion. And, so clowning really has played a big part in your life. That
I've always enjoyed the circus because the clowns, they didn't take themselves so seriously, but also they were so colorful. I haven't been to the circus in a long time, but as a child, I would watch them and their clowns, their clothing was whimsical and it was funny and it was colorful. And I thought, this is as a child who comes from so much sadness and
mm,
it's like an escape. You're watching them and they're just being so, to me, they're beautiful. I think clowning is one of the greatest artistic expressions of this lifetime. I could just, and I went to a Barnum and Bailey accredited school to become a clown for a Barnum and Bailey
mm.
circus, but I couldn't leave my family and go on the circuit. And I was always taking care of my family. And it's a regret, but it's also something that I just know it wasn't the time. Maybe in the next life.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful to have that experience and just know that, that's just part of my life. And I really can't take credit for my optimism or my happiness.
I can feel you're so full of
I just
joy, Robin. That's the thing sitting here that I'm taking in. You're just so full of happiness and joy. And people that have so much more during their childhood would be lucky to have this. I mean, where does that come from? Are you just naturally so joyous? Did you have to work on it? Have you done lots of healing? Or is just this your
no.
fountain of love in this lifetime?
I can only think that I was born this way. I mean, I just
Wow.
feel like it was my dad said that I was the happiest child, that came out smiling. And I only weighed 3 pounds when I was born. I was very premature and addicted to drugs and
Hmm.
very, very sick. But he said, I came out laughing and smiling and just he thought I was some kind of guru or shaman. He's like, here's this sick baby that's barely alive, maybe won't make it. And she's smiling and she's happy. But I was born on peyote too. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never taken it as an adult, but maybe that, I don't know. But I think I was just
Because of your
born.
mother's addiction, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just born very optimistic and very happy. So it's not even like a conscious decision. It's just who I am. I don't know if
Mm.
it's genetic or if it's just the universe gave me that. And
I'm kind of like that, actually.
yeah,
No, but I mean, I just listened to the chapter where your mother passes, and after she passes, you're kissing her hands. You're
her lips.
you did every single thing for this woman in her passing that would make her feel sacred, sovereign, and yet this was a woman who tried to kill you on several occasions. And I was like, how how do you get to that point where you can forgive someone that deeply who has, been so absolutely appalling? Did you do any spiritual work? Was it just
No,
a
no,
passage?
it's just a knowing. I mean, I feel like I've always known since I was a child that my mom was very mentally ill, and I just thought, people would never choose to be mentally ill. And I knew that she wouldn't have chosen to be an addict and mentally ill if she could
Mm,
choose another way. Then I also knew that she was going to be the greatest teacher of my life, that all these
wow.
dark times, it was like trying to outdance the devil. I mean, it was with her, like you
No,
had
I
to do
got
this
that. Yeah.
thing. And I loved her and I thought she was beautiful, even though I never I never experienced any love from her. She never
Mm,
said anything kind to me. She never
mm,
said I love you. She just, but I loved her. It didn't
mm,
matter. And one of the things that she said to me when I was a kid that stuck with me forever, she said, you don't have to just love people that love you. It's okay to love people that don't love you. And I
Wow.
often
Now
wonder if
that's a
she
life lesson.
I know, and I thought about that because I came home from school one day and I was really sad, and I was like telling her about how this kid didn't like me and how I really loved this kid, but the
Mm,
kid didn't like me. And that's when she sat me down and said, "You can still love that kid. You don't have to just love people that love you." And in some ways, I think she meant it about herself because she couldn't love me. And at that moment, my mind just shifted. I thought, you know what? There is no rule about that. I can love everyone. It doesn't matter if they love me or they don't. In
mm,
fact, it's even more beautiful to love the people that can't love you.
mm.
So, but she was beautiful, even as dark as she was. She was very, very beautiful. And she never let me kiss her on the mouth. She had a thing about that. I mean, she'd clock you in the head if you got anywhere near her mouth. And I just wanted to kiss her on the lips so badly. I mean, more than anything. So when she passed, her body was still so warm and beautiful and soft. I got her head and I just kissed her on the lips that probably about 2,000 times. And I said,
Wow.
"Mama, this is for all the times that I could never kiss you when you were
Wow.
alive." And that was a very healing moment for me.
Wow. No, it really, my mother is in last stage Alzheimer's. And my mother, a little like your mother, she was quite angry with me for a lot of her life. I think, like you, it was my lightness. And I actually haven't had the strength to go back and say goodbye to her because I feel like she's at the last part of her life. And there was such a big teaching for me in that moment where you like, like you totally forgave her and she apologized to you. And I think it's going to inspire me to go and see my
I
mum.
hope so. I hope that you do because that for me was the biggest healing part of my life.
It
And
was.
she had a beautiful discussion with me before she died. But even if she hadn't, just knowing of all her 5 kids, I was the only one there. And I was the one that she treated the worst. And just being there with her, and it wasn't like a badge of honor that I needed to be there or a
Right, yeah.
martyr or something. I just knew that this woman deserved a beautiful death. And then the
Right.
only person who could help her with that was me. And I
Wow.
anointed her feet and I held her hand and I just kept telling her she was beautiful and that she was okay and that she was safe and that I loved her and I forgave her so that she could make this passage. And while I was trying to heal her, I guess at the same time I was healing me through all of this. So
Wow. Yeah,
I
I
invite
really get that.
I would say go to your mother and just
Mm,
kiss her hands, kiss her head, kiss her lips, and just let her know, I forgive you, mama. I love you.
mm.
Go with peace. Wherever you're going, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. Don't be afraid, you know?
Wow, that's so beautiful. I could see you got glitter on your face. And was she your number one glitter saint, your mother?
My mother and my father were both glitter saints, and in fact, both of them died with glitter on their hands. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, what are the chances? Had been divorced for a very long time, a couple of
Mm,
decades. But I don't know anybody who can say both their parents. They died very close together, but
mm,
in separate homes in separate towns, and they both died with glitter on their hands. And I was
mm.
there with them when at their death, and when I was kissing and loving on them both, I got glitter all over my face from them. And I thought, isn't it interesting that I now have the glitter that was on them, now it's on me, and now it's reflecting something entirely
Yeah.
different. So, but glitter saints is a lot of things. I think we're all glitter saints. But my mom was also she made Mexican folk art. You would have
Mm.
loved it. And
Yeah.
one of the things I discovered in since she was Catholic, she was kind of everything, but
Mm.
she grew up Catholic and so did my
So did my
grandmother.
mum, yeah.
And I noticed growing up that all of the religious saints and statues and stuff always had glitter on them. And I thought, wow, they
Mm.
really want to make them shine, and they did. So that was how I first learned that, saints must have glitter on them as a child. And I thought
Wow.
that's so.
That's where it comes from. I was
And then I
thinking
thought,
all
oh,
the way
that's
through the
why.
book, I was thinking, well, she means her parents,
No,
but
it's if
glitter
you go to
saints.
Mexico, every saint's covered in glitter. All the statues have some glitter in them in certain countries,
Yeah.
just to make them shine and make them more luminous.
Yeah.
And they illuminate the whole area with this glitter. And so my mother used glitter on everything. And my father, he was painting a picture, a life-size portrait of Selena Quintanilla, who had passed just not too, I guess around that time. And
Mm.
that was his last painting. And he was making it for a family
Mm.
and a beautiful family that owned a Mexican restaurant in our town. And he was putting glitter on the red roses on the painting. So he had red
Wow.
glitter on his hands. And I thought, isn't it interesting? They both died with glitter on them. And then I
Wow.
started thinking about the correlation and how We're all glitter saints.
We're all glitter saints. I
We're
just
all glitter
I
saints.
just love that. I so relate because my parents were artists. Crazy wild artists through
Yeah.
the 60s and 70s.
Best kind. Best kind.
My father, I adored my father just like you adored. And he was an alcoholic and very hard to see him go through his cycles, but I just adored him and he adored me. And maybe it's not the perfect household or the white picket fence. Maybe it is chaotic and there's some addiction but they're like your childhood, I really relate. There were these very dark moments, but there was also this incredible light, which, like you, has really fueled my creativity over the years. I feel like that is such a great message in your story, like to take the darkness and make it into something beautiful, whether it's fashion or a painting or a home or, I think,
You weave it into light. That's what you do, really. You just take the darkness and you weave it into light.
is that what you're doing when you're making things? You're weaving the light.
And that's what I try and teach people too, is like when you're in the moment of creativity or making art, that's when you're the closest to God, I feel.
Oh,
Like
wow,
you're
I'm getting
in that
chills.
you're in that space where it's just you and you're not thinking about what's going on in the world or what's going on down the street or what's going on in your body. You're just thinking about you and the art, and it's this quiet time of creation. It's like you're so close to God. The Dalai Lama calls it shrinking the tonal. And he talks about how you pull all your luminous fibers in when you're focusing on something really small. And usually, like, we're out here in the world thinking about current affairs, the news, the this,
Mm.
whatever, all these things. But when you're doing that art, it's just you and that art. And that process is so important for us. It's like a conscious meditation.
It's like a prayer,
And it's a prayer. It's a prayer. It's a meditation. It's all these healing things. And so when you're doing it, like the monks that make those mandalas and then they just blow them away after this. So they'll spend a year making them because it's that process that's so healing. And so I tell people, do the art. Even
Mm.
if you don't like it, even if you throw it in the trash, it
Mm.
was the process by which you were doing it that was healing and it was beautiful. And you were in that sacred moment. And that's the most important thing in life is to go to those sacred moments. Go down to the beach, make a sandcastle, or just draw on the sand and do things with the seashells. It doesn't matter, and I mean, most of the time when I'm creating stuff, I don't really like it anyway. I'm like, I don't care. But
It's
sometimes,
so beautiful.
oh well,
I've
thank you.
really admired, the beautiful pieces in your store for so long. And I have a couple, like these jeans you're wearing, they are so amazing. They're so creative. So you feel like the process is sacred. Do you want people to feel sacred when they're wearing them?
Yes, and they do. And I'll tell you that everything that we make is made with the intention of love because you put the vibration. You're not supposed to make food when you're angry. Well, we don't make clothing. We make it with love, and we put that intention of
Mm.
love in every fiber, every paint, every glitter, everything, so that when you wear that, you can feel that vibration of love. There's a movie like Water for Chocolate. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, I have.
And when Tita's cooking that beautiful
Yes.
food and she's crying into the mole sauce, everyone at the table's crying because they feel the energy of this person. So it's important that what you're doing, if it's going to be shared with anyone, that you put the love in it. It has to be made with love so that you don't put that spirit of tears and stuff. So Magnolia Pearl is all about forgiveness and love and art and giving back. So yeah, they're garments. They're like shields, and I think it's
Oh, I
important.
love that.
Yeah,
Shields
it's a
from the,
shield.
the world as it is
Yeah.
right now, which is a
It's
little.
like a breastplate to shield your heart from all the heartbreaking things,
Mm,
because this world will break your heart and it
mm,
does break your heart. And,
mm,
that's where the light shines, right? It comes out
mm.
like your heart, even a broken heart. It keeps beating, but and then it shines more light out. But it can only be broken so much and keep working. So
Right.
we need
Did
all
you
these.
discover that in your life that there's a point where you've got to really protect yourself? I know when your mother really went for you, you that was the only time you ever left your siblings and have you found that there's a moment in life where you've just got to say
I'm
that's
just
enough?
reaching that point now. I'm older now, and I realize that yes, I have to protect my heart because it's
Mm,
been broken and shattered so many times. And I'm a
mm.
really sensitive person. I'm very I'm an empath and
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
super sensitive, and I feel everything. I can walk in the room and feel the room,
Yeah,
and I love people.
me too.
And
That's why I'm
but
sitting
you
here
can't
doing this. I love
always
people.
but you can't always trust people.
Hmm.
So yes, but I will never stop loving people just because I can't trust them. But yes, I'm learning now that my heart's been broken so much that I don't think it can take a whole lot more.
So
I
you
don't
had to be
really,
very
I don't want to
discerning.
find out. I don't need to be like, let's break it 20 more times and see
No.
if it can take it.
Like-
So yeah, I'm trying to be gentle with myself and protect my
Mhm.
heart a little bit more. You know, I've
Mhm.
been reckless with it by giving too much of it and
Mm.
just not protecting and not really having just not really like looking into the future of something and saying, you know, that might not be good for me.
Right.
And just saying, and I do more things for other people than I do for myself. I'm probably, you're the
Yeah.
same. Like I would
Yeah.
rather help people and
Yeah. My
then
therapist has been teaching me that this. Yeah, she said to me one day,
discernment.
I wish you would give as much as you give away. I wish you'd give to yourself. So I've been trying to do that as a practice to just, you know. But to be honest, for me, a lovely conversation or a story is the greatest gift to me. So that's why
That's
I'm
awesome.
sitting
I
here.
can feel that with you.
Yeah, I love
So,
it. I love it. I mean, you are so amazing. To me, it's amazing that we're sitting here. This is like, I'll be high for 3 days. No drugs
so cool.
needed.
And my husband, he's here somewhere, but he'll tell you, he'll say, you know, you give too much. And I said, really? Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing as giving too much? I
Do
don't
you think what
know.
we give, we receive
You
in
know
a
what?
way?
I don't, I try not to think of it like that because anything you give, I hope that you don't receive anything because that would
Yeah.
mean there's strings attached. I want to give it and wherever it goes, great. I don't want to think about it. It's just
Mm.
gone out there in the universe. Nothing has to come back
Mhm.
because then it has a string attached to it. If something good comes to me, it's beautiful, but it's not mandatory and it's not necessary and it's
Mhm.
not something that I ever think about. I don't do
You're
anything
just
for
in
the,
flow
yeah,
with the giving and
whatever's meant to be
yeah.
mine or yours, it's
Yeah.
all in the universe and it's theirs.
Yeah.
It's there for us. We just have to be open and feel deserving that, you know, that whatever the abundance that's in this life, it's for all
Mm.
of us. And
Mm.
if we're open to it and we feel like we're good enough, then it comes to us,
Mm.
you know?
I mean, fashion is such a lovely way to self-express. I've always loved fashion. And actually this year, it's funny that because you're only our second guest of the year.
Oh my
We did
God.
16 last year, and I said, I want to talk to a fashion designer because I want to express myself more wholly through what I'm wearing. I've always had
Totally.
fun with fashion. How do we give ourselves permission to do that?
Well,
Just go
okay,
for it?
go back to when you were a child. I mean, when you were a child, you would go in your room and you would open a bunch of drawers and you'd look in your closet and you'd just start putting on things, right? And you
Hmm.
didn't care what it was or if it matched or whatever. And it was just a beautiful thing. And now I don't know how your parents were, but my parents were always embarrassed at my ensembles, but they knew that's just Robin. She's going to do that. So don't even bother with her because that's where I drew the line with my parents. I was like, well, then I'm not going. I would put my foot down. They said I would stomp like a little donkey. I was like, no. But I just think if you go and you get in tune with your inner child and you're just like, this makes me happy. These colors make me happy. These clothes make me feel comfortable. And it isn't about what anybody's opinion is of what your clothes look like or
It's
you.
more what makes
It's,
the inner child
yeah.
happy.
And it's none of your business what they think about you anyway, right?
Right?
Why waste your time? Who cares?
Right.
And if they're laughing at you, well, at least they're laughing. So
Right.
it's all good. As long as you feel comfortable.
Go
And
to the inner child. I like that idea. I went through a period of wanting to be like, I don't know, the siren or the sex symbol. I kind of enjoyed that whole thing. But I don't know if I've ever given my inner child total freedom to wear anything she wants. So I like that. That's a nice piece of
that's where the genuine beauty begins. You know,
Mm.
it's like the ego jumps in the back seat. When you're with the inner child, it's a different kind of beauty. It's beauty without ego, without fear. It's
Mm.
just an innocent, beautiful. I mean, it's aligned with the stars as far as I'm concerned. I just think it's important. I think I tell
Aligned with the
women,
stars.
braid your hair, put flowers in your hair, wear hot pink, wear two different shoes. Who cares? Just be fun, be an artist, be a
Right.
clown, be silly. You know, no, nobody really. I think that we think people care more than they do. Like when you go into the grocery store, you're thinking, oh, are they all staring at me? Maybe they aren't, you know? And if they are, well, that's okay. Give them a show. That's what a clown would do. So, I
I
mean,
love the idea of giving them a show, and
yeah,
I've been
give them a
doing that my
show
whole life because I'm a performer.
because it's
And so
beautiful.
I
It's
love
not anything cruel or you know, it's
it's
like a,
supposed to entertain, right? To
yeah,
uplift, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you a little bit about your process when you're creating? Like, for example, the hat you're wearing. Is it a feeling inside of you, or do you see something that inspires you? I read in your book about how you were taking old things, cutting them, sewing them together. How does it like percolate inside of you?
It comes from everywhere. My brain is just, it's clicking and it's just never, I don't think my brain ever shuts off. I'm trying to learn how to meditate, but it's the
Oh,
hardest
me
thing in the
too.
world for me because
Me too.
I only have so much time and I've got to create all these things before I leave this body. So it's like I gotta ever just click, click, click. But yeah, it comes from there's the spirit world and that guides you. You know, there's a spiritual world.
Mm.
There's it's
So it just comes through.
yeah, it just channels through and there's so many things. I mean, you can go to the ocean and just looking over your out your back door and over your balcony and looking I was looking at the ocean and looking at all the colors and the different colors that were in the ocean with the seaweeds and stuff and I was thinking, "Oh, I love those color palettes." I mean, it just comes
Mm.
from everywhere. When there's a rainbow in the sky or there's certain birds, I love birds.
Mm.
It's just,
It comes from
whatever.
everywhere and it
Yeah.
just goes through.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. Was it always through the creativity that your inner child got to express?
Well, if you think about children, I went to school for child development and I
Mm.
became an art teacher to children for many years. And the thing that kids love the most, more than anything, is art.
Mm.
Probably sugar next, but no, they love art,
Mhm.
and there's no child that would turn away art supplies. And
Mhm.
or if you sit down and say, "Would you like to paint with me?" or "Let's cut these dolls," or "Let's whatever." I used to tie dye shirts with kids, and they would just love it. They loved making the mess, and then they loved afterwards when the shirt would dry and they could wear it. So if you want to get in touch with your inner child, buy art. Art is like one of the most beautiful ways.
Mhm.
And I feel like our authentic self comes when we're doing service for others.
Right.
I'm a very service oriented person and I
Mhm.
have a really beautiful charity and usually
Yeah,
on
tell us
Christmas
about that. Yeah.
usually on Christmas it was raining this year, but we go to Skid Row and we hang out with the people and everyone says, "Oh, it's so dangerous, you shouldn't go." But I've had a beautiful time down there with those people
Mm.
and they're just people. I guess I'm familiar with that kind of stuff because my parents were drug addicts and they were
Mhm.
mentally ill and there's a lot of that in Skid Row and these people are just out of, fresh out of the penitentiary and but
Mm.
they're also beautiful and they're also humans and they have hearts and they have feelings and you can find your authentic self when you're down there with them and you realize, wow, I thought I was grateful, but man, I have so much to be. They many of them
Wow.
just sleep on the hard ground. They don't have pillows, and
Mm.
everything. I take art supplies to them, and
Wow.
we talk and we talk about their lives or the ones that want to talk and how they might want to change their lives or what do they want to draw. I'm like, what are you going to draw on this sketch pad? And so being authentic is like opening your heart without judgment to people that are out there that are suffering, that need your help and they need your love, and they're everywhere. I mean, you can go anywhere and do that. And that's when
Wow.
you find your authentic self
Right.
because anything that touches your heart and tugs on it and you want to shy away from it because you don't want to feel it,
Mm.
I say push into it, lean into love, lean into those things that make your heart feel just a little bit uncomfortable.
Really?
If
Yeah.
we would all lean into the things that make our hearts feel a little bit uncomfortable because we don't want to have to contribute. We all drive past that homeless guy, right? We don't want to look.
Mm.
We don't want to stop and say, hey, maybe he needs a sandwich and a bottle of water. Or maybe
Mm.
he just needs someone to give him a hug. It's like we're not leaning into our hearts.
We almost feel like it might touch us or mess up our.
Well,
Do you
yeah,
think?
do I really want to, pull over and sacrifice a portion of my day? And maybe he stinks, or maybe he's dirty, or maybe I'll have to give him some money. Maybe I am going to have to do something for someone else. Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
the point. If everyone would make a decision that every day they're going to do something small for someone else, that's your authentic self.
Mm.
Lean in to the sorrows of this life. Lean into the things that make your heart uncomfortable. Lean into the people that are in the trenches. Lean into all that stuff. Lean into all the things that make you feel uncomfortable and see why. Why do they make you feel uncomfortable?
Mm.
And then
That's a
go
good.
make some art. Like say this with all these raw emotions, I'm going in this room. I'm gonna get out the glitter and the paint and whatever, canvas, scissors, cloth, strings, and make a mess. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
Just make something.
Right.
I like to paint on jeans, hand
Mhm.
paint jeans, and I like to hand paint shoes. Those are
Yeah,
kind of
you're
some of
really inspiring me to get it all out. All the
get your
stuff
jeans out and like
I'd lay it
paint
all
them
over
and
the lawn and start, that's the kind of thing that was
yeah,
going
lay it all over the lawn. It's so good.
that's the kind of thing that was going on, in my household when I was growing up. But I think I've got more sort of addicted to just buying things. But it might be nice just
No,
to,
reinvent all your things. Go to your closet and say, I don't ever wear these 9 pants. I don't ever wear these 12 shirts. Put them out on the lawn and just go to there's a really cool art store here called Blick, I think it's called. And they have the most amazing fabric paints in neon colors. Oh
wow,
my
I
God.
can see them on.
Yes,
Is
and
that paint?
they're paints and they don't wash out, and it's just you can just start painting and you
Do
can
you
also
print your fabrics as well? Wow.
we do digital printing, we do screen printing, we do hand painting, we do embroidery, we do every conceivable thing to them that you can think of.
How
So,
many people do you have working with you?
well, my biggest studio is in India, and I have about 1,500 people that work for me there.
Wow, that is
And they,
so
well, I shouldn't
beautiful.
say they work for me. They work with me. They're like a family, and I'm on the phone with them every day. I mean, I love them. They are
Wow.
family, and they've taught me so much about life and the spiritual side of life coming from their traditions, and then I have a whole team of people here in California, and then I have a team of people in Texas. So I'm in Texas half the time, and here half the time,
Wow.
and then
It's so inspiring that out of your darkness, your will to survive, your will to express, your will to live, you are feeding so many families. And that is such inspiration for me. That is so amazing.
I love to feed people. I bet you do too.
I mean, I do actually. I love to feed people, but I mean, what an incredible inspiration you are, Robin. I mean, it's
Mm.
just incredible. Anybody who wants to be totally inspired should listen or read your book because everything you went through, many people would not get up from that. They would have let it break them down. And somehow you came through all that. And here you are, full of absolute joy, happiness, goodwill, sharing. I mean,
You can't let anything steal this gift from you. This is a gift. This life is a gift. This sitting here with you today is a gift, and no matter what happens to us, they can't take that gift away from us.
wow.
And, I've told my siblings who are so angry at my mother, she
Mm.
got you here. She didn't have an abortion. She got you here. And I would say, if I was a little baby signing up and they say, well, you're going to get to go here, little baby, but you're not going to have anyone to guide you. You're going to have to figure it out on your own, or you can just, step off the stage and let another baby get up here. I'd be like, you know what? Give me the chance. I don't care. No one's going to guide me. I'll guide myself. I'll work it out. I'll figure it out. Give me the chance. And I tell my siblings, she got you here. That's good enough. She didn't owe you one other thing. Nobody owes us anything. I
Mm.
know a mother's job is to be a mother, but some mothers cannot. But she
Mm.
got me here. She
Mm.
couldn't mother me. I was like, I'm not gonna be a smart little baby. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And I figured it out. Do I have everything figured out? No, of course
Mm.
not. But I figured out how to make it this far. And I thank my mom every day. I thank her, Mom, thank you. I know you were strung out on drugs. I know that having a baby was probably a horrible thing. And just thinking about the responsibility must have been enormous, like
Mm.
what am I going to do with this kid? She's going to get in the way and
Mm.
I can't party and da da da. And so, but she
Mm.
she gave me the chance. And I think if you go back to that first day when you're born, and if you were intelligent enough to be asked, hey, you have a chance to make it on your own, or you get to step off to the right and let another kid be born, you'd say, yeah, no, I'll take the chance.
Mm.
Let me try it. Let me
Mhm.
try my hand at this. Right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you
wow.
choose it?
Oh, yeah, I love life. Zoe means life.
Yes.
And
Oh, cool.
my mum had postpartum depression when I was born. So I think she was also an artist. She was a creative. And sometimes I feel like creatives have just got to be creative. I haven't had any kids in this lifetime because I thought I'm an artist. And I felt some of the frustration maybe my mother had. She took, wanting to be an artist, instead taking care of us, she maybe took out on us a little bit. And so, I've just thrown myself into that. So your siblings are still a little angry or?
Yes, they have a harder time with the
Yeah.
forgiveness thing, and yes, it's affected their lives,
Hmm.
and yeah, I would say that, yeah, they're very
What
angry.
ways do you think our lives are affected if we don't forgive? Because I'd like to do more forgiving.
I think that forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves.
Mm.
It's more about ourselves and our own health, our own mental health. And I think if we don't forgive, we have resentment, and then we feel entitled to all these things that we didn't get. And it creates a bitterness in us, and
Mm.
bitterness makes us sick. It makes us acidic. It makes us just feel terrible. We carry all this resentment and all this grief and shame and all these things. And none of those things feel good. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't feel those things. It's okay to feel them, but then let them go. Don't let
Mhm.
them just, you don't want to,
Fester and
yeah, you don't want to marinate in that. You can just say, you know what? Shit happens, right?
Mhm.
I got what I got. Now I'm going to
Right.
make something beautiful out of it. And they did the best they could. They did the best they could. And they got us here. And it's like we should just say thank you. Thank you. You know what?
Mhm.
More than anything, maybe they screwed up, but
Mhm.
that's not what's important. They got us here, and we have the choice to make whatever we want out of this life now. And all we can do is just say thank you to them. Thank
Mm.
you for getting me here. Thank you for doing the best that you could do. It might not have been the best that I wanted you to do, but who am I to judge? I have
Yeah.
never had kids, so I don't know what a tremendous burden that may
Mhm.
or may not be. I would like to believe I raised my siblings, and I think I did a pretty good job. And, I
Yeah, that was
love,
amazing. I so admired you, you know, for doing that.
I
Yeah.
love them. It wasn't even a chore. It was not even thinkable. It wasn't even something where I thought, geez, I have to stay home with these kids. And no, I love them more than anything. I was so honored to be their sister and to be home with them. And, I protected them. And even to this day, we're all adults, but I worry about them. Every night, I made a promise to my siblings I would never turn my phone off at night because, if they ever needed me for anything, my phone's on. So many
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, I turn my phone off and I sleep with it in the other room, 5G, blah blah blah." I'm like, you know what? I could never do that to my siblings. We were all that we had, and until I draw my last breath, my phone's staying on. And if my siblings need me in the middle of the night, I'm gonna answer my
You were
phone.
so
So if you need me in
close.
the middle of the night, you call me. My phone's on.
Thank you. So you were so close. It really reminded me of my sister and I's relationship. We came on an epic journey across the world. And there's this song we have actually that my mother, she didn't like the fact I wrote the song, but it was called Orphans. And it was about the journey we did together, holding each other's hands and just going, to the edge of everything in order
When can
to
I
do
hear
the.
this song?
I'll send it to you this afternoon, but it so reminded me how deep the love was between you and your siblings, and the fact, actually, my sister's living with me right now, the fact that you would have done anything for them. It was
Anything,
so
anything.
deep and so.
Yeah, and I still will do anything
Mm.
for them, and it's just
Are they
a
creatives
loyal.
or?
I have a brother,
Mhm.
Tovas, who's super
Yes.
creative, but he doesn't choose that path
Mm-hmm.
because our parents were starving artists. And
Mm.
I think that both of us just thought that creativity really wasn't worth anything. And it was really the only thing we had. But
Mm.
and my parents were starving artists too. So I just thought, well, what good is creativity? It hasn't done anything for my parents. So
Mm.
what is it? And so I've just lived a creative life. And by the grace of God or
God
the
bless
grace,
you for doing
it
that.
just, but it just turned into something. I wasn't
Yeah.
looking for it to turn into something.
Right.
I wasn't trying for it to be a production or anything. It just sort of happened. I mean, I was
With your
making things.
bags, right? To start with, I
Yeah,
heard
and
it.
they were really crude and hand stitched, like I said, with kite string and a big weird leather needle. And I didn't even have a sewing machine. And people would run me down, and it was so interesting. It was like uh, I knew that when both parents died, I had to keep that creative torch burning because I didn't want it to die with
Mm.
them. But I would keep it going just as like on the side, just as a family respect to the family, not as a business. And
Mm.
yeah, people kept coming to me over and over and over, and then magazines started coming to me out of nowhere, and then the phone rang, and then in my little city in San Antonio, the people asked me to be on this television show, and I was scared to death, almost fainted. In fact, because I'm so
That's
shy.
terrible. I get anxiety as well
I was
sometimes.
being
Terrible.
interviewed, and I was all these bright lights, but when I got home, the phone was just ringing off the hook, and people were like, "Where do we get these purses?" I mean, it started and it never stopped. And maybe tomorrow they'll be like, we don't like Magnolia Pearl and the phone will never ring again. Who knows? I'm not attached to the outcome,
Right.
whatever happens, but it's been a beautiful journey and it continues to be an even more beautiful journey. And the better it does, the more I have to give to my charity and the more I can do for other people. But,
Yeah, what's your big next dream in terms of Magnolia Pearl or creativity or
well, I have a retreat center in Texas and I went to school for natural medicine
oh
and
wow.
and I would love to do some sort of healing retreats with art
Mm.
with women too.
Oh wow. Well, I
So,
studied with Cherokee women
oh wow.
for 20 years. The Native American way. It's actually what saved me from myself. Like you said, you went to clowning. When I was in rock and roll, there was a beautiful medicine woman called Nita Little Bearfish. She saved me from myself and she taught me the Native American way. So if you do the
Wow,
retreat
that's
center, I'm
so
I'm happy to
beautiful.
come and teach,
So
you
that's
know,
where the
the
shaman comes in.
yeah. I love healing arts, and that's always been the balance for me. As much as I love to perform, I love to be with healing artists. So if you go for it, I'll be
I
happy
went
to
to
be a
school for
part of
years
that.
and years for in the healing arts, and
You
I
did.
went to a school in Florida called Hippocrates Health Institute, and
Wow.
I became a colon hydrotherapist, and I learned iridology and all the
Wow.
the different ways of healing people, and I used to do that for free for people that were sick,
Mm.
and
I do my ocean blessing ceremonies where we
see,
build big bundles and give them to the ocean.
I would
Um,
love to do that
do you
with
want
you.
to do what I love
Yes,
to give? I'd love
I
to do
love
that for you,
healing.
where we place our intentions. I also do them for people who've passed over. Say thanks to someone who's passed. I love it. I love the spirit realms. I love the unseen realms of the angels and the fairies. And
I do too, and like the Virgin of Guadalupe is a very special woman to me. My mother used her in all of her art, but it's interesting. She's always talking to me and she
she is.
shows up everywhere. I mean, it's the strangest, like there'll be a reflection and there she is. Or I can't even, if I told you all the things, it's crazy, but she's trying to tell me something and I don't know what it is. But I put her in my clothing a lot. And some people don't understand. They think it's not for religious purposes, it's for a spiritual thing. But she talks to me and
Mm.
I feel guided by her. And since I didn't really have a mother per se,
Mm.
um, she's kind of like my mother. She kind of
She's your
guides
mother.
me. Yeah.
It's funny because we have a housekeeper who's been working or around my partner for 30 years. And at Christmas, she brought in Mary or it's the Madonna of Guadalupe.
The Virgin of
Yeah.
Guadalupe. Yeah.
And put her around the house. Yeah.
She's powerful.
She's powerful. I have her by my bed right
She's
now.
more powerful in Mexico than even Jesus. It's very interesting. They go to her. They
Mm,
believe that they pray through her
mm,
and she goes to Jesus. And yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. The original image of her
mm.
came in 1531 on Don Diego's poncho, and it hangs in a church. And I actually flew to Mexico City when I was about maybe 23 to see the original one. And it's very, very beautiful.
Wow.
The
So you've
church
seen
is,
the original.
yeah.
I can feel how much she would bring to your life. At what point in your life did she sort of arrive? That voice that you heard when you were getting, beaten, or was it her voice?
No, it didn't. She didn't start speaking to me until I was a teenager. But
Oh,
yeah, as a child, I don't really know that I ever had like any kind of voices. I was just running on my own, sort of just talking to myself
mm,
and telling myself like affirmations of, making sure that I wouldn't turn into my mother and that I wouldn't behave in the ways that she behaved. And I
mm.
also would talk to myself and just pray quietly that I would never be angry at her or have
Wow.
animosity towards her.
Wow, that is like a miracle because, I mean, she did get quite monstrous at.
I just have this amazing resilience, like this power to forgive.
Mm.
And I
I
really,
mean, that really comes through your book as well, because as dark as it gets, your hopeful spirit, your childlike spirit that wanted, to take care of your siblings, wanted to experience life, wanted to experience joy, was finding animals, finding it never gets really dark. The book doesn't get dark because there's so much hope in there. That's what I mean, I'm an empath and I get very sensitive to, the mention of violence, but I always felt this tremendous hope throughout your book that was like so inspiring. I think it could be so inspiring to anybody, children or in a marriage that are going through something really tough. Your book is absolutely amazing.
I think if you just try to relate to people, and try to, I mean, there's, I don't think any of us are really, we ask to come here. I mean, maybe we do, but I don't feel like we do. And so we get here, we show up, and there's not really a handbook for any of us. And, some of
You're
us
right. There's no handbook.
have this horrendous life experience. And then, we don't have good role models, and we don't really have great, like the school system, I think, is terrible. The foods, all the immunizations and stuff. It's just like we're indoctrinated with so many things that are against our will from the time we're little. And then if you don't have positive people to take you under your wing and show you the beautiful things in life, it's like we just get more and more screwed up as we go along. I mean, a very small percentage of us are born into these amazing little house on the prairie families, but how many people do you know that get that kind of thing? So it's like we're here and we're
Yeah, and
damaged, and it's like, and nothing really helps guide you through I mean, I would, on the rare occasion that I would get to go to school, I would show up with two black eyes, skinny as a rail. And my homeroom teacher, Miss Cortez, said to me, and I often thought, I wish I could run into her. She told me in front of the class, Robin, you're the least likely to succeed of all the students in this class. And not knowing my backstory, not even asking, why do you have two shiners? Why are you so thin? Not even caring. And that's the kind of society. So how do kids? So I believed her. I thought, well, this lady's a teacher. She obviously is very smart. She's smarter than me. She knows what she's talking about. So I'm just a loser and I won't succeed at anything in life. And that was the story I told myself. And I had to like work hard to like erase that. But
mm,
I think about all the kids and how, so how can we be angry at people? How can we? How is it possible to hold animosity for all the people and all the broken people and all these experiences that they have? There's
mm,
just not enough love in this world. So
mm.
forgiveness is really just the key.
The key.
It's the key. It's the key to us. It's the key to loving them. It's the key to just, I don't know, how did Jesus do it? Not that I'm comparing myself to Jesus at all, but how the heck was that man born like that?
Yeah.
He was even forgiving them when they were beating him and crucifying him. And he's just like, forgive them, for they do
I
not
know
know.
what they do.
And, I mean, I think you can just be born with that forgiving spirit and understanding that the human condition is complicated and that people would do better if they could do better.
Mm,
Drug addicts try. I watched my parents try to quit smoking and quit doing drugs or
mm,
stopping the alcohol. And they would try and they would go to rehab and they would try so hard and they would just put everything they had into it and they would be good for a little while and then they would
mm,
relapse. So I knew it had to be extremely difficult.
mm,
It's something that I'm so glad that I don't have that burden.
mm. This is why I so admire you, because when I was, I think, 17 years old or 18, I went to my mother and I said, look, you guys have got to do something. You either go to AA and try and help dad get sober, and I'll stay around. But if you're not prepared to do that, I am leaving. And my mother said, oh, no, it's so much better now. I don't want the upheaval. And I actually left. And later I came back and took my sister. And my mother never forgave me for taking my sister and immigrating all the way to Los Angeles, to California. I just kind of took off and I wanted to get as far away from the alcoholism as possible. But I have to say, they got to be marvelous artists together. Something about me and my sister taking off. They traveled around Europe, and my father became a painter and he got sober. So I don't know, in my own
See,
way.
is there mistakes? I don't know. I don't think there are mistakes. At that time, that was self-preservation for you, and you have to
Mm,
forgive yourself. And also, was it a mistake? No. I mean, look what happened. Something beautiful happened. And I just think that the choices that we make, they usually aren't mistakes. When you come back to them and we think, wow, had I not done this, this wouldn't have happened. Or sometimes it seems like a mistake, but it's our greatest lesson too.
mm,
It can be painful. But when you're that young and you're trying to get away from that kind of madness, that's
mm.
just self-preservation. And at the moment, it could be that that's all you could handle.
I think that's where I got to.
So moving forward, it's like what you do with your mom now
Hmm.
is the most important thing.
Hmm.
Forgiving her, loving her. And even though maybe her mind isn't here, her spirit is still very much here. Her
Mm,
soul is here. And she knows, they know, when you're there holding her hand, she feels that connection. Her mind
Mm.
might not be there, but yeah, just loving her and just telling
Yeah, I
her.
feel like maybe she's been waiting for me. I haven't.
Absolutely.
I haven't gone, and I think maybe she's
Yay.
been waiting for me there.
That's a
So I
good
think,
thing.
I
I
think,
love that.
yeah,
That's
I
going to
think,
make me cry. She's waiting.
you
And
know,
you know what? You're waiting for that too,
yeah.
because it's so important.
Oh,
It's so very important.
thank you for that. The moment in your book where I started crying. I didn't start crying when through the violence, and the moment I started crying, and I'm going to cry now, was when you were working in the old people's home, and you say at one point you had 27 grandparents. I love my grandmother, so that really made me cry after everything you had been through. The
It
fact
was
you were taking care of these elderly people, and how much love you were getting from them. That really,
it
I don't
was
even have a tissue
beautiful.
here
I mean,
to
I
use
love
my
old
scarf.
people. I think just use your scarf. I know I blow my nose on my shirt. Yeah, that was a beautiful time in my life. It was definitely about them, and I didn't think any of it was about me. I was just giving, giving, giving to these people. But then I realized, wow, there was so much love. They loved me so much. And it was the dying that finally got to me because
Yeah,
they, at that age, they're always dying. They're dying, and I have a hard time with death even now. And so,
saying goodbye. That's always my thing. That's probably
yeah.
why I haven't been to see my mom. I saying
But
goodbye. I've
that's
had.
the one goodbye that's a must. Because once she's gone and you can't go back and say goodbye, that's when you will
Mm,
toss and turn at night and just be like, why? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? You
mm.
know?
I think that I had so many hopes, like you express in your book, to have that really close, loving relationship. And when I would get in close, invariably she would end up like a cat,
Yes.
sort of lashing out or blaming me or being very angry with me. There was a certain point I became very, self-protective. Um, I couldn't I couldn't handle hearing I'd ruined her life, and so I think probably that's still there. I always felt like every interaction or everything it was always going to come with that shadow side, very much like your parents. There was incredible beauty, parties and art, but there was the downside of the alcoholism, the addiction to the dark side, the verbal abuse, and I think I got to a point where, and she would come to California, but invariably she would end up telling us that we were bad daughters. And I think I got to a point where I just went, okay, that's about as much as I can do this lifetime. But I have to say, last time we were with her and I was there with my sister, I remember her reaching out and touching my sister's face, the most gentle. And I thought, wow, she's finding her peace
Or
after
she
all these years.
forgot. She's forgotten to be angry.
She forgot. The Alzheimer's taught her to forget. Are you ever, when you're working on your pieces of, clothing, are you ever actively going through that process of letting go of something that's hurt you? Or are you aware in that meditation you're ever using the process of creating the clothes?
If I maybe subconsciously, I feel like all of the family stuff, like for me, I mean, I've not been to psychotherapy or any kind of therapy. So
That is amazing.
I
I
don't
can't
know.
believe that because I've done loads of it. The way
Maybe
you.
they would tell me, Robin, you're crazy and you're not doing so well. But I don't really feel like I carry anything that I need to forgive them for. But to me, it's like more current event type things that I'm
Mm,
working through. There's a lot going on in our world right now, and there's a lot of things that bother me
mm,
as an empath and somebody who's incredibly, I have so much compassion and I love people and I'm really, I have a hard time. And so, yeah, through my art, I work in sort of
mm-hmm,
a silent prayer and a meditation of just always hoping that the world would become a better place. And also, I'm actively doing things to make the world a better place.
mm,
We're working hard to clean the ocean and we're feeding people and we're always
mm-hmm.
doing
What are you
great.
doing with the ocean?
There's a charity. It's called something by the bay. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot the name of it. But
I want
they
you to,
are
because
cleaning the ocean and they're doing a
wow.
beautiful job. But they're also helping the mammal life. And they give you the water reports. They tell you, what's in the water.
Mm.
when it's and they explain to you like it's not safe to swim in the water. There's a lot of arsenic and lead and all these
Wow.
different
So they
mercury.
do the testing.
Mhm.
Okay, I've got to get
Yeah.
hold of those people.
And they're working to save as many of the, like
The
the
mammals, yeah, the
dolphins and
dolphins.
the
Because the
seals and
dolphins are pure love. Don't you feel
I
that?
think oh, pure love.
Whenever I do my ocean blessings, the dolphins come
They know.
and they
They're
jump.
brilliant.
I think they connect to our hearts so deeply. Yeah.
They're like all of them are old souls. They're
Yes.
just so beautiful. And they're always smiling.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Always smiling.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yes. That's one of my dreams, to swim with the dolphin. Yeah.
Me too. I had
Really?
never done this. Do
Oh,
they do this in
let's do it
California?
together.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness, this has been such a pleasure. You are just the most amazing person, like your spirit. You have
Thank you. That's
such
so nice.
lovely energy, and your life is just this incredible, like lotus, this beautiful expression, this beautiful blossom. The lotus comes out of, mud, and I think we could all learn so much from you, to be honest, Robin.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you. I feel that you're a very beautiful person too, and I
Well,
feel
thank
so
you.
glad. I'm so glad that I decided to come.
Oh,
This is so cool.
Please come anytime.
I was like, this is so nice, and your
Yeah.
place is so lovely.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. This has
This
been
is a
beautiful.
conversation I will never forget.
Oh my
I
God.
honestly think this
Oh.
conversation will change my life, and I hope anyone else who watches it changes theirs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is awesome.
This is beautiful.